In a world where Snakes on a Plane is actually just a movie about the Golden State Warriors. A world where MVP and 0-23 rhyme unironically.
They've missed 23 straight.
A world where the league's second best team's second best player looked like this 8 months ago. There's only one man that can stop the evil empire.
But as we all know, LeBron, a young Lakers core, and some pieces off the scrap heap won't be enough to contend for a championship right away. Thankfully, the Lakers are flush with trade assets and cap space to make moves that could push them into that upper echelon right now. Welcome to Lakers Trade Central. I've compiled a list of trade targets via LakersNation.com that could potentially put the Lakers into a true contender spot. The analysis will be simple pros and cons based off of fit, trade cost, and intangibles, and then ordered from worst to best. This video will be pretty long, so if you're only interested in one or two of the players I talk about, all the sections will be time-stamped in the description. Without further ado, let's hop in. Player 1, Kawhi Leonard. Of all the names featured in this video, Kawhi is clearly the best. If the Spurs were asking for a reasonable price, he'd be the overwhelming favorite to snag. Keyword being if. The reports that I have read say the Spurs want Ball, Ingram, Kuzma, 2 firsts, and 2 seconds, which amounts to basically the Spurs telling the Lakers to go fuck themselves. And it makes sense. The Lakers and Spurs have been battling it out for Western Conference supremacy for the better part of 20 years. With Pop's career coming to a likely conclusion sooner rather than later, the last thing he wants to do is ship off his golden goose to the team that he swore he'd never make a trade with. And on the other side of things, the Lakers are sitting pretty, knowing Kawhi has his eyes set on them. Perhaps skeptics point to the Paul George situation as a warning of what waiting for a player can bring you. But PG was never as direct about his desires as Kawhi. And even if he does end up getting traded somewhere else and deciding to stay, is he really worth trading the farm for? I'd say no. 0 stars. Player 2, DeMar DeRozan. You'd think the player they call a poor man's Kobe would be higher up on a list of Lakers trade targets. But it makes more sense when a poor man's Kobe turns into a broke man's Kobe come playoff time. Whether it's the bright lights or the defense just being a little tighter, DeMar has proven for years now he is not able to deliver come playoff time. And this is made all too apparent by the 42.2% playoff effective field goal percentage he has for his postseason career. Just reading that about a guy voted second team All-NBA makes me sick. He's a bad three-point shooter on a team already in need of those. He's an average defender on a team that is already in need of that. And he's a good playmaker on a team stacked with those. If I didn't think Masai Ujiri was quietly trying to have a fire sale up north, dropping his trade value so low he's taking a dip in Lake Ontario, he may have even been lower than Kawhi on this list. On all fronts, DeMar is a no-go in my book. A half star. If you have enjoyed the video so far, maybe consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you really like it, subscribe for more NBA content. And now back to the video. Player 3, John Wall. While John has put up excellent stats throughout his entire career and even better stats in the playoffs, his position on this list comes down to team construction. A trade for Wall would almost certainly have to involve Lonzo to not have 3 starter level point guards on the roster. But even if they did move him, they still have LeBron James, who, along with Wall, had one of the highest time of possessions in the entire league last year. Wall has not shown much of an ability and even less of a willingness to play off ball, making the duo of him and LeBron incompatible. So maybe stagger their minutes, but then you have to play Rondo with LeBron or Rondo with Wall, and he is far worse than either of them when it comes to ball stopping. The beauty of Lonzo is his unselfishness when it comes to holding the ball. While people praise Rondo for being unselfish, what they're really saying is he doesn't want to score. but he's really just exchanging one type of stat for another while he tries to put up gaudy assist numbers instead of putting up points. Lonzo is the complete opposite, almost to a fault at times last year. And why would you even want to move Lonzo? This whole LeBron thing is nice, but the dude is going to be 37 and playing in his 19th season by the time his contract is finished. This fairy tale come to life for the Lakers has an expiration date. And moving the young player with the most superstar potential in a league predicated on requiring you to have a superstar to win rings in a city where the thing that they hang banners for is championships and nothing else, that is a very short-sighted approach. Finally, Wall's contract extension that's coming up is insanely expensive, starting at $37 million per year in the 2019-2020 season and finishing at an ungodly $46 million in the 2022-2023 season. Oh, and there's a 15% trade kicker too. I'm not going to do the math for you guys, but, that's a lot of money. For these reasons, Wall is a weak option for me. 1.5 stars. Player number 4, Kevin Love. Kevin, unlike DeMar or John, actually fills some holes the Lakers need. An excellent shooter with the ability to stretch the floor. Great rebounder on a team that still has no real big bodies to go after those. And an underratedly clutch gene in the playoffs. With all due respect to a couple games he played concussed in the finals. But seeing him this far down the list should come as no surprise for anyone that's followed LeBron's career after he left Cleveland the first time. LeBron works best with a guard playing second fiddle and a center or power forward filling a utility role. Grabbing Kevin Love before another superstar leaves the Lakers with a great degree of immobility in terms of cap space without really setting up LeBron with a running mate. His greatest strength in Minnesota, the clear peak of his career, was his manly postgame, which doesn't vibe extraordinarily well with Luke Walton's motion offense. And who even knows if he can get back to that dude he was in Minnesota, considering how much he's slimmed down. Then consider on a team that figures to be guard-dominated, you certainly want someone that can defend the rim if they aren't contributing a great deal on the offensive end. This is another area of shortcoming for Kevin. Given Cleveland's current roster construction, they may be willing to part with him for cheap, but do they really want to lose their two best players to the same team in the same offseason for cents on the dollar? Kevin is an option, but not the best card on the table. 2 stars. Player number 5, Bradley Beal. Now we can talk about some actual quality fits for the Lakers. Bradley's offensive game is defined for me by his incredible amount of versatility. He can play off-ball and shoot from any spot on the floor. He can create in ISO situations or push the fast break. He averaged a career high in assists this year, and when John wasn't playing, he racked up nearly 7 dimes a game as their primary ball handler. But as evidenced by how he has put up with John's ball pounding for 6 years, he has no problem stepping away entirely from ball handling and being an elite catch-and-shoot player coming off of screens. This is exactly what Walton's motion offense is missing. Only one All-Star game in 6 years of experience and injury concerns will help the Lakers when bargaining for him, and he'll probably end up being a cheaper trade than Wall, even if only marginally. And then once they get him, he has 3 years left on his contract, meaning he'll be under their control for the entire duration of LeBron's stay. But even if he does end up costing a pretty penny, to snag a player with this type of natural offensive fluidity and versatility for a team like this, I think it's probably worth it. His defense could be better, and in a league where they switch so often, not really being able to cover elite threes is a problem, but something they can work around. For me, Bradley is an excellent option. 4 stars. Player number 6, Damian Lillard. What made Kyrie Irving so special and worked so well for that 15-16 Cavs team? It wasn't his playmaking or highlight reel dribbling. It wasn't his chemistry with LeBron or his three-point shooting. It was the fact that when LeBron needed to have pressure taken off of him, Kyrie could go get a bucket at any time against any defender. Isolation basketball, especially deep into playoff runs, is just unavoidable and a skill that you need to have. And bear with me as I explain myself here, but Damian Lillard is every bit the isolation basketball player that Kyrie Irving is. First, we can talk statistics. Damian and Kyrie ran nearly the same amount of isolation plays per game and put up almost identical points per possession. You can then look at something like career 50-point games, which I think is an excellent indicator of how good an isolation scorer you are. Damian's had 4 already, while Kyrie just 2. Kyrie has the handles and the finishing, but Damian's got the size and the unlimited range. And when LeBron headed back to Kyrie and the Cavs, he was really an unproven commodity. 0 playoff appearances, an awful winning percentage, and frankly an underwhelming stat line. Damian has 5 trips to the playoff, all with him as the team's best player, and 2 second-round appearances even though his team was underdogs in both first-round series. He's also been top 6 in points per game the last 3 seasons. And while he's been hit or miss in the playoffs, including this year's god-awful series versus the Pelicans, he's shown that he can be next-level clutch.
The series. It's Lillard. He got the shot off. Lillard, good! And the Blazers win the series!
Do I think he's going to be as good or better than Kyrie when it comes to crunch time in the finals? Maybe, maybe not. But what I am saying is the parallels as second fiddle premier isolation guards is undeniable. And for this reason, I think Damian Lillard is the best option for the Lakers. 5 stars! Well, that's all I got. If you made it this far, please consider giving the video a like or subscribing for more NBA content. And as always, thanks for watching.